Welcome to this chapter of the St. Andrew Society of Detroit's Oral History Project. This project was the undertaking of the Charles S. Lowe Memorial Library Committee to capture members' recollections of the society. Recorded in January of 2018, these are the memories of George Boyd, current society trustee and building committee member.
We get money from Kilgore, and so we decided to go spending it. And I was on the building committee to look for one of these. So I went and asked one of my buddies who was a realtor. So he took me and introduced me to a guy that was with Signature Real Estate. And he's the one that started working with us. Drove around with him quite a few places, and none of them really were appealing. And he comes here, and I fell in love with it just looking at it. And they wanted $130,000 or something like that. And he got it for us for $76,000. And then, of course, being on the building committee, I went and purchased on it and had them getting our building. I did 90% of the carpenter renovation on here. And that's what got me into the fact of being building maintenance. And all this time up until now, pretty much that. I remember getting this place, these people getting a roof repaired on the flat part where the utilities are, and they kept dragging their feet. Well, the roof was almost caving in. Fortunately, it wasn't leaking, but I finally got them to go and put a new roof up there.
Let's go way back in history here. You've been a member for a very long time. Your father was a member. And I understand there's an old picture.
Back when I really got involved with it, he was a manager of Detroit Highlanders Pipe Band, which now is the St. Andrews Society Pipe Band. And one of the pipe majors are a George Duncan and a Walter Rose. And Walter Rose Pipe Band wears the Rose tartan now in remember of him, because he was a pipe major for so long and that, and quite a lot of memory of him. So that's the Rose tartan is where what the band wears now is from back to him because of his tartan, Rose tartan. With me, I remember my dad was a manager of the Detroit Highlanders Pipe Band, and wherever he went, I went. And I can remember going to London and Hamilton, Ontario, where the pipe band went for competition.
How old were you when you first started attending St. Andrews Society of Detroit meetings?
This was because with my dad. Then time passed, and I'm going through, finishing up school or going through school, and then after school, the service, getting married. So I kind of stepped out of the picture until my kids were growing up. I went to some games, and I can't remember what it was, and I went and to this guy. His name was anyway. He was a member chairman back then. Yeah, I told him, I think I want to join. I filled out the form and everything, and then 2 days later he calls me and he says, "You're already a member. Your dad made you a member when you got out of service back in 1961. So as an active member, I've been real active ever since then."
Now, you were obviously at games in Boblo Island.
Yeah.
Tell us about those games.
There's a couple of things here that I wrote down that I remember is the last boat back from Boblo. Pipe band would be on it, the ferry, and they're always playing music all the way back to Detroit. One thing I'll never forget is leaning against this handrail and looking over the side of it, and here's the engine to the ferry, and these great big pistons going up and down, and me being a kid in that, it was just so fascinating. There's just little tidbits like that. That's a long time ago for me.
How have meetings changed?
Well, not really much to what I can see. The biggest thing is where we were, the locations when I come into it. It was so nice to come here to the center. I remember walking in the door, and this place was just perfect. It was really different, a mess. Of course, after we renovated, and that is beautiful.
When people walk into the Kilgore Center here, they are really walking through history in the sense of those doors here at the front of the Kilgore. Tell me about those.
Those I can remember going through when I was a kid, that when those were mounted on the building down in East Congress, for the front doors at the old
St. Andrews Hall.
Yeah.
And how did you get them here to the Kilgore Center?
There were some people going through the old hall, and a miracle was that those doors were still down there. And these people, I don't know if it was Scott David or just a couple other roaming around kind of looking for them, and they found them. They had them refinished, and then you talk about goosebumps going through me when I put them in this opening here. Because I had walked through them back when I was about 8 years old.
As far as the St. Andrews Society of Detroit, you obviously enjoy being a member. What would you tell other people who are of Scottish descent that might be interested in joining the organization?
Being a member, and when I got really going active again, it was just me enjoying it, absorbing as much as I could, and have as much fun as I could.
Now, you're a key driver in setting up the games every year. Is that a lot of fun?
I'll tell you what, when I do it, it's a lot of work, but people ask me about that, and I said, if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. And sometimes at the end of the setting up, the games are starting, and it's Saturday morning, and people are coming in by the numbers, and I look around, and that takes my blood pressure down, and it just kind of starts putting the pins on my lapel about being responsible or partially responsible for this happening because it's so beautiful.
How many volunteers does it take under your tutelage to put the games together every year?
For setup, usually there's a good number. Just it depends on how many show up, and I just work with them.
Do you have a sense that the individuals that show up to volunteer to help assemble the games, do you have a sense that they have a good time with each other?
Oh, yeah. And I have a real hard time going and keep really pushing them, realizing, this isn't a job site and I'm not the boss. It's just to take it easy and making a good time out of it. If it's hot, I have somebody go get some water or whatever, and we'll sit in the shade and talk. But then, of course, I got to think about I just sit there talking and keep going.
What is the most funny thing that ever happened, say, in setting up one of the games?
We were very fortunate with weather. One year, there was a storm, a Cayley night, and a lot of the Clan Row blew down and tore up so we had to hurry up and set it back up. I'll tell you what, after 20 years, I decided to hang it up because last year's games, with the moving of that old schoolhouse on there, and having to change the layout of like the parade field and this and that and whatever, all together different. That really took my age off. So, and putting it probably couldn't happen at a better time. I feel 20 years is long enough.
George, is there anything I haven't asked that you would like to mention?
No, one thing I like about this year is the entertainment tent not being there and being able to move all the clans over onto the grass between concrete parking lot and old farm fence here, and make it where people can go through and it's not crowded. It was just beautiful. So it's going to break my heart. I can't do it again, but work on it again or that. But like I say, I really enjoyed it, and like I say, I'd sure like to do it again. With me, after 20 years, just riding around the cart, doing my thing, and yet hearing pipe bands off in the distance all day long, that to me is the biggest reward. And I swear, after the games are over and Sunday night go home and I'm still hearing pipe bags in my ears.
This presentation of the St. Andrews Society of Detroit's Oral History Project was produced by Van Rohr for the St. Andrews Society of Detroit's Library Committee under the direction of Dennis Clements, current chairperson, and Shelby Brown Rohr, current St. Andrews Society of Detroit's communication director. This project celebrates the 169th year of the St. Andrews Society of Detroit. Salante.